Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we look ahead to the pick of the action from Newbury, the BetVictor Jumps season finale as well. Now, of course, this is our first show following the 2025 Cheltenham Festival and Declan Rix, contrary to popular opinion, Sam Boswell hasn't just run away with the winnings from the bookies. It is just you and me, though, this week. How was your week?
Yeah, it is just you and me. Yeah, I think Sam is off sunning himself somewhere, isn't he? So
honeymooning.
Oh, honeymooning,
no
very
less.
good. Yeah, so we're a bit like
Safari as well. So he's doing it right.
Very good. Yeah, he is, isn't he? But he, as you say, he did clean up last week. So.
Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, I suppose we're kind of like Ant and Dec, and I suppose I'll be Dec. You can be Ant.
I don't know who I prefer. Love them both, but maybe a slight preference for Dec though. But it's only right that you should have him. How was your week?
Yeah, it was good. A losing week, if I'm being honest, punting-wise.
Yeah, it was.
I'll tell you, right, or I'll just sum this up now. Tuesday went, right, work ahead last, touch me not without Margeborough last. Then I backed Statement anti-post at 11s.
Oh, yeah,
you backed him again at 7s, non-runner, no bet. And then I backed him again 9-2 without Constitution Hill. So, Katie Tracey, that's how my week at Cheltenham went. But look, good sports. It's good fun. It's always good fun.
Yeah.
But, I got a good bit back Friday. Thankfully, had a good Friday, but still a losing week.
Oh, that's okay. You've ended on a slight high. Most people feel like I had it described to me yesterday by my friend Matty Sutcliffe, where it was like the 2005 Champions League final, but he was AC Milan. So it started so well, and then it fell off a cliff towards the end. You're sort of the opposite.
Yeah, no, Gordon wasn't the only one shedding tears of joy after the final day. So, look, it was good, and I suppose kind of you've got to put it all in perspective, haven't you? Given what with the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme,
yes,
novices hurl, and then obviously poor John Hunt was going through everything that week as well. So, like when you put it in the context of all that, it's always a great week.
It's so true. We have timely reminders all the time, don't we?
Yes.
That there's a lot more going on in the world, a lot more bigger things. This is just sport at the end of the day.
Absolutely,
and
sport
good
and a bit
fun.
of fun.
Definitely, a bit of fun, and also a reminder, as always, so please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will also do our best to point you in the right direction. And as we say it every single week, it is just a bit of fun and it is just our opinions. Now, of course, we do have loads of racing to look forward to at Newbury and a little bit of a smattering at Kelso as well. But we're going to kickstart at Newbury with the 205. Now, this is the Get Best Odds Guaranteed BetVictor Novices Handicap Hurdle, a 0-130 contest, 4-year odds and over 2 mile through. So, Dec, I'm already ticking the box for the BetVictor.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a big week for Sam to be away. I don't know how he got this. I don't know how he got through HR, but anyway, he did. I suppose. Look, I think we've got to start on the ground at Newbury at the moment. They've been watering for a week straight, but nobody knows how much water they've been putting down. Officially, the ground is good to soft, good in places, but I had a look at the going stick reading, and the going stick reading to me suggested soft ground, so I have no idea what the ground is going to be like. The track is verti-drained, and when that happens, the going stick reading can be a little bit lower, so just bear that in mind. But Newbury are also forecast 3 to 7 mils Friday night into Saturday, so who knows what's going to happen. Now, at the moment, my selection is Old Cowboy. And the better the ground, the better his chance. I really like him. I think he's going to possibly prove to be a 130s plus horse, this guy. There's just something really likeable about him. He's got a lovely forward way of going, but he's controlled and he's a really nice jumper. And you'll see him here. This is him winning at Plumpton. I think it was just over a week ago. He beat an odds-on horse of Willie Mullins is actually, and Patrick Mullins there in second. And he beat him stiff now, and he was probably a little bit flattered by the final margin, because I think Patrick eased up quite considerably after the final hurdle on the runner-up. But before that, he clearly had the Mullins horse stuffed. He jumped well, he travelled well, and he bolted up, and he's a big old price there at 12 or 14 to 1, especially if the rain doesn't come and the ground stays decent. The Moore team are in much better order now at the moment. Gary and Josh are going well, and I think this is going to be the 4th or 5th running of this race. In the first 3 runnings of this race, Gary Moore trained the runner-up, the 3rd and the 3rd, so maybe it's a little race that they target. So yeah, Old Cowboy at a decent price to kick off the show for me this week.
Potentially target to place. But all the same, all the same. At 10 to 1, about Old
If
Cowboy.
the rain does come, by the way, the favourite Norm Iron is a horse I've been looking I'd be crying out to seeing a strongly run race with genuine cut in the ground because he's quite a big horse with a knee action. We won't mention Michael Flatley, but it could suit him. So if the ground does look like really soft, I'd like the favourite.
Yeah, 7-2 though, he is short enough in a race of this nature, isn't he? It's interesting that we go back and watch that Plumpton race. So I actually asked Patrick Mullins about it, just not to, ask too many details on it, because obviously he didn't have an enjoyable time there. So I've got to go back there now, though, because of course he wants to be ticking off all of these wins at all of the British tracks as well. So he's like, I've got to go back to Plumpton now. But a horse that's been dismissed in the market somewhat at 10-1. Now, another horse that I'm fascinated by, I wouldn't say it's been dismissed in the market, but it was a bigger price than I was expecting, is Jackpot de Board in here at 14-1. And what we say is a wide open contest here, but it is a super trappy contest. But this horse, though, at a fair price of Paul Nicholls, Harry Cobden, lightly raced, just 5 runs to his name, 2 bumper runs, 3 starts over hurdles. So making his handicap debut here off an opening mark of 118, which appears to be on the harsher side based on what he's shown so far. But I would still expect him to improve going into handicaps. And I know we talk about odds-on favourites being overturned. He was overturned as the 4-6 favourite at Taunton last time out. But I wouldn't be too harsh upon that, because he was trying to give weight all round. He was beaten 9.5 lengths, admittedly, but the eventual winner, who was and who remains a very progressive horse, was You Can't Be Serious. Yeah. Now, taking into account all of Jockey's claims as well, Jackpot de Board was trying to give £13 to that winner, and he was back up in trip, freshen up since then. Talk about yards being in better form than when we saw them earlier on in the season. Paul Nicholls is just starting again to bubble up, isn't he?
Absolutely. I think the Gary and Josh Moore yard, Paul Nicholls, I think they're going to have a really strong finish to the season. So definitely a couple of yards to keep on side because, it just clearly horses weren't right. When horses aren't right and they're not thriving, it's just hard to win races.
Exactly, especially with all due respect, this kind of calibre of horse, got some likeable types in here, but this is still a 0-130 contest. But yeah, Jackpot de Board, he's also getting the first-time cheap pieces to go with his usual tongue tie. That might just make a bit of difference for Jackpot de Board. But a 10-1 and a 14-1 shot to kick us off. It's kind of a summary, really, of this weekend's racing, isn't it? So we'll try our best to find you those value plays, and potentially we will have those in our next contest for 240 at Newbury. The BetVictor, home of the Saturday Super Boost handicap shakes. I'm the one who's finally doing the job here. You're normally doing Sam's job for him, and now it's all turned around. 0-145 contest, 5 rods and over 2 mile 4. Now, Bob Ricard and Stan Segal are vying for favouritism here, 7-2 and 4-1. Dec, who are you keen on?
Yeah, I had in my notes at the 5-day stage in massive capital letters, trappy race.
Yes.
And the first fence comes up pretty quick, and I think there's going to be loads of pace on here. So, Saint Segal is probably going to go forward. Scarface won't be too far away. Matterhorn, imagine. Getting over the first will be the early battle, and then kind of settling nicely into a race. But it's always a worry when you come back to Saint Segal and you think he's the solid horse in the race. Hence why I thought it was unbelievable. Exactly. That sentences shouldn't be allowed in this game. But to be fair to Johnny Burke, I think he's the jockey who found the key to this horse, because earlier on the season when he won over this course and distance, Johnny just let him stride on because he's been a very keen horse throughout his career, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And they've just been fighting. But Johnny let him go, and he's probably the best he's ever jumped. And jumping has been a little bit of a frailty to him, but I think he's jumping better now that he's allowed stride on. And this is the famous day Booster Bob came and touched him off, who I think was nearly probably about 30 lengths behind, jumping 4 out, and he still managed to get up. Maybe just on the front end, Saint Segal did a little bit too much, but I think he'll go well again. He runs off the same mark in a lesser race. I'm just hoping the favourite tomorrow, which is another Bob Richard, doesn't do him. But I think if he's in good order again, he'll give you a good spin for your money.
Oh, Saint Segal, that cliff.
I know.
You're on the precipice just looking down again, but 4-1. I know what you mean, though, about this race, where you look at Saint Segal up there and you think, well, I'm definitely going to take him on. And then you start to go through the rest of them and think, Oh, I've got just as many question marks next to these horses' names as I do next to his.
And I had my usual moan about the ground in the first race. I think whatever happens with the weather here, I think he'll be fine, Saints again.
Oh, yeah, he will be, won't he? And that at this stage is something that you just factoring in, aren't you? Is just trying to find ground versatile horses because we don't know.
Yeah, but look, the ground
don't know at this stage.
It's one of the most important variables in the game, and we don't know what's going on. So anyway, we won't go back to bashing Clark to the course again. So who are you with here?
Nice segue, though, into my name of the horse, Risking the Ground.
Ah,
it's quite apt, really, isn't it? There, yeah, Risking the Ground at about 11-1 for Dan and Harry Skelton. And when you see that the Skeltons seemingly target a race, it's so often a good ploy to follow in their horses because Cheltenham, of course, has won the past 2 renewals of this race and for the Skeltons. And this time they're sending Risking the Ground and Real Stone here. Now, Real Stone is a 10-year-old. He's the outsider of the field. Harry has elected to ride Risking the Ground, who remains a fair price. Admittedly, not as big a price as he has been the last twice. He was 50-1 at Warwick on his penultimate start in the Grade 2 Kingmaker, 22-1 in a Class 3 handicap chase at Huntingdon last time out. But in those runs, he just didn't have any sort of a chance in, clearly. Yeah. So he's now £3 down in the weights, running off of just £1 higher than his last success when we were looking at, which came at Bangor in September over this same trip. So I'm hoping this has been the plan for him and he's plenty in his favour to win what is quite a nice prize as well. So I like it when the Skeltons seemingly win races, target races, and Risking the Ground at 11-1.
I think he ran in that good, was it a novice handicap or a handicap at Cheltenham earlier in the season behind Keith Donoghue's brother's horse. Was it Lismore Lad?
Okay.
Yeah, and on that form, he's definitely well handicapped, so he is interesting. He did make the shortlist as well, actually. But I just looked at his profile. He was like, they've been messing around with trips, haven't they? He's run over 3 miles, 2.5, 2, and just doesn't seem like they've really found his niche.
No.
But maybe that'll be found tomorrow.
Yeah, over 2.5. At least he's splitting the difference, isn't he?
Yeah,
in terms of the trip anyway. But yeah, some of the tasks he's been asked this season just have not been there for him. But when we saw him at Bangor over the trip, I've no real qualms about him whatsoever. But I'll take your word for the collateral form, family line, whatever was happening there. That was very impressive.
I forgot Keith's brother's name. He's actually a really good young trainer in his own right. I forgot his name, but I know he's Keith's brother. So there you go.
Keith's brother. There you go. There you go. There's a shout out all the same.
He'll be known more than Keith's brother by the end of his career.
Definitely so. Do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for that Newbury contest. And while you're there, also hit the bell notification, subscribe, all of that on YouTube so you never miss an episode. Right, the 3:15 now at Newbury. The BetVictor British EBF National Hunt Mares and Novices Hurdle Grade 2 Limited Handicap Series Final. Ticking all of the terminologies there, aren't we? 4-year-olds and over, 2 mile, 4.5 furlongs. Another mad handicap, 4-1 on the field deck.
Another mad handicap, yeah. It's that kind of weekend, isn't it? Yeah, another race. I think will be run at a good gallop, which is always nice. I like when there's lots of pace on paper, and you know what you're going to get from a pace perspective, because pace for me is one of the kind of most important variables in this race. And in racing, and I think that kind of setup is going to suit Sheog Yell here for the Fergal O'Brien yard. She's been running really well this season. She's not the biggest of fillies. She's quite low to the ground and has a knee action, but she's a really good jumper when she's on song. And it's this run at Windsor earlier in the season. I think she runs off a mark of 118. I think she's well handicapped off that mark. And, you just wonder, has this been a plan since that Market Raisin run last time out? And, this was a pretty warm race. Probably one of the warmest fillies novice races in the UK. Now, obviously, as we saw at Cheltenham last week, it was the Irish fillies who came to the fore in the dawn run. Air of Entitlement, and I won't mention 6.5. I know you put up anti-post. So yeah, but I think in terms of British form, this is good. You can see her there; she's still galloping it well. But I just look at her there. You go back and watch her races early in mid-race. I don't know, is she a bit lazy, or has she just been in top gear throughout? And I just wonder, could this step up and trip just allow her to do everything a little bit easier? She's a former Irish point-to-point winner. Her pedigree suggests she'll improve over 2.5, and visually looks like she'll improve over 2.5. And I think off her rating at the moment, she, for me, is definitely well handicapped if she could put it all together. There's another horse I would give a mention in that race. if the ground stays right, and it's the Neil Mulholland horse, If You Can. She, I think, is a big price there. I think she's about 20-25 to 1. If they didn't get the rain and the ground, the official going description was closer to what the going stick is suggesting. I think she can go well at a big price. She ran really well last time out at Ludlow, just didn't stay the trip, and I think dropping back in trip on nicer ground will suit.
Okay, nice big price as well then for the each way play. But how are we pronouncing your...
Shiog,
Do you know what it means? You're the one.
I don't know, I sound a bit like Sean Paul again there, don't I? We've gone back there. Up with you, girl. Yeah.
No.
So, Shiog, yeah.
Sean de Bowen is not riding.
Sean de Bowen is not riding, yeah.
He's not riding.
I probably should. I think, is it Irish?
I hope so. That's why I've come to you for it, because I wouldn't know.
But, yeah, I don't know.
All right, that's your homework for next week anyway.
I'd say we'll probably have to edit this bit out. It'll be interesting if it makes it in.
If she goes and wins next week, then we'll definitely know. Yeah, and you shall be. 4-1 though heading the way, but 2 plays then for you in that one. Now, I like a horse that is currently 9-1. La Pinsonnière in this one, who I'm hoping, again, I've got the pronunciation there as well. But 9-1 though, but as you say, really tricky racer. You can give a chance to the vast majority of these. Now, 3 of these are reopposing. Jasmine Bliss, who's prominent in the betting. Then we've got my selection, and back and forth, I Am the Moon as well. But La Pinsonnière, though, is the one I'm going to give a chance to, and hope that Nico de Boinville has chosen correctly, because this has been a bit of a theme of mine this weekend, siding with horses who are seemingly the first string on jockey bookings, and seemingly La Pinsonnière, who is the Nicky Henderson first string. But we say it all the time about Henderson's horses at Newbury, so if there's anyone with a semblance of a chance from that yard going to Newbury, you've got to give them a second look. Now, this mare, she's making a handicap debut. We've just seen her finishing second at Salford last time out in a mare's National Hunt Novices Hurdle behind Jasmine Bliss. But Jasmine Bliss, she made all, one as she liked, looks so impressive. She's been hit, though, by the handicapper all the same, Jasmine
She was
Bliss.
high on the shortlist as well for me.
Oh, yeah.
About you. Like, visibly, she was, how she quickened up 2 out at Southern. She put the race to bed.
Everything
unbelievably
was so
quick, yeah.
Everything, but like
I saw an interview with Harry Derham yesterday. He seemed pretty sweet on her, and they are going well at the moment again.
Aren't they? Yeah, like say after they had that kind of mid-season blip.
His gallop was washed away.
Now they've got a gallop back. Their form's improved. Who would have thought it? But yeah, so Jasmine Bliss, like I say, I think I might just have to have a little bit on her. But at 9-1 though, I expected maybe a little bit more disparity in the betting, in the prices between those two. But in that race, you thought that La Pinsonnière, the fact that she had £7 in official ratings in hand on Jasmine Bliss, obviously it didn't turn out that way. But now she's on a handicap debut in first-time cheap pieces. She's been dropped £7 in the handicap as a result of that as well.
First-time cheap pieces.
I know, first-time cheap pieces, first-string horses as well, and drops in the handicap. The British handicapper at this time of year.
And we were both on the first-time cheap piece in Poise Trois last week, and they probably lit him up too much.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't it Sod's Law then? Yeah, but I'm hoping she'll be able to close the gap on Jasmine Bliss all the same. But again, super tricky and trappy contest there at Newbury. Right, we're going to head up north now to Kelso for the 3 o'clock. More mares though. Series final mares novices handicap hurdle, 4-year-olds and over 2 miles. So a valuable card up at Kelso. Great that we're getting to see Kelso yet again. Now, of course, the feature is £100,000 Herring Queen Series final. £51,000 to the winner here, Dex. So nice prize.
Yeah, another competitive race. And again, it looks like there's plenty of pace on here, and you know it's going to suit a strong travelling, slick jumping horse. And I think that's going to be Barrabool here. Now, she is a daughter of Jack Hobbs, who finished second to Golden Horn in the Derby once upon a time. And these are 2 sires making their...
Golden Horn. If I hear Golden Horn one more time after last week, he was. I heard it about him more than I did about Constitution Hill. Yeah,
it's mental. Is it the girl? Is it Jane McGivern who owns a Dash Grange stud? Yeah, she's pumping out the propaganda like Cool Moore there. But fair play to Golden Horn. He was one of my favourite horses, and he had a great week. But this filly, you can see her just at the back. She's at the back of the screen now. Again, in this good Windsor contest, she just shaped an awful lot better than the distance beaten this day. And I think the ground was far too soft for her, and it was her first run in a little while, and at a time when the Harry Derham yard weren't going too well. But she really burst back to form next time out. I think it was at Ludlow again, or Hereford. It was a right-handed track anyway, and she shaped way better than the distance beaten. She actually had Tour Olivi, who I know someone here who likes. Well, it must be you.
Who could it be?
But she looked like she had Tour Olivi beaten going to 2L, and she just didn't get home, and that was in soft ground. But the ground, I think, up at Kelso at the moment is good. It's, you know, and I think that's really going to suit her. She's a really good jumper of a hurdle. She's nice, slick and quick. She's going to travel strongly around there. Probably be hiding behind the couch there after the final flight because something could just outstay her. But I think she's well handicapped. It's her first time in a handicap as well for an informed team. Harry Dermot, Alice Stephen takes another £3 off her back. I think she's got a big chance. I just hope that she travels up okay and takes all of that into her stride. If she does, I could see her going off favourite if she's fancied.
Ooh, that would be interesting to see. At 11-2 then, like I say, it wouldn't take too much there to see her going off favourite. And if she does travel up well and takes everything in her stride, then naturally you're going to see that in the price as well. Bit of deja vu then, going back to the Windsor contest again. So form lines you want to be focusing in on,
Yeah, well, it's a key form line for me this week, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. We'll be focusing in on that for sure. Barrable, I will let you have her. But yes, funnily enough, Tour Overley is my selection here, the only other person in the room. So yeah, at 9-1, I thought that this was a very fair price about Tour Overley. And again, we talk about this not being an easy race, but it's fascinating. She gets the 9-day turnaround after running a really good race, I thought, at 100-1 at the Cheltenham Festival in the Dawn Run Mares Novices Hurdle. Yes, she was beaten 19 lengths in the end, but she was certainly in no way disgraced at all. So she's getting the quick turnaround. Back in a handicap off 120, with this race going the way of the top three in the handicap in recent renewals. So she's actually running off £2 lower than when she was 9th of 14 in a Class 2 handicap hurdle at Windsor, behind Secret Squirrel and plenty of other talented 2-mile handicap hurdle stalwarts. She then went for that race at Windsor on the back of a win at Newbury in a mare's handicap hurdle that was seeing bringing up a hat-trick in the process. And she did it really well this day to run down a horse who just was not stopping. We've just seen how strong she was at the line as well. So back in against mares here, feasible mark, big race experience, and she's a 6-year-old mare as well. So I'm just hoping that the quick turnaround, she's a bit older to be able to deal with that, to be able to travel as well, that she should be able to take it in a stride at 9-1.
She was the second horse on my shortlist. She was actually number 1 on my shortlist, and then I went back and did the weights. I think there's quite a big weights discrepancy between Tour Olivi and Barrabool off that run last time out. Where was it? It was a right-handed track. Was it Hereford or was it Ludlow or...
No, you're asking.
Anyway, it was one of those tracks, and that's why I changed my mind. So I'm with Tour Olivi as well. She loves her jumping as well, doesn't she?
Yes.
She's a really strong traveller, a really good jumper. I think I can see her going very close as well. So.
She looks a lovely ride, doesn't she? Yeah, 9-1 then.
And she ran a cracker last week.
She really did.
Like at the bottom of the hill, you know, on the new course where they crossed the there's like a dirt road there. She was only a length behind Air of Entitlement. Like, she ran a screamer.
I know, the 19 lengths doesn't do it justice at 100-1 for how she actually ran out it. So do make sure to go back and watch that if you would like to see what we're talking about with Tour Overley there and what a big race she did run just 9 days ago. It's going to be by the time this race is off at the Cheltenham Festival last week. Right, time for Dec and I to head over to the sofa to give you our Cheltenham eye catcher as well as our best bets for the weekend. Now, as promised, our Cheltenham tracker horses to go into our At the Races tracker from last week, Dec. Who took your eye?
Oh, many took my eye, especially those horses that didn't get a fair start with the starter. There was a mountain of those.
That's a section in itself.
Yeah, Pick Rock, probably Ben Pauling's the main one there. But for this particular show, I thought Nadawi ran a big race in the county hurdle to finish second to Cargesi. I could not believe on the form book that he went off 25-1. He was so weak in the betting. I don't think the Elliott Yard expected a big run at all. But he ran a screamer, and I just suspect now he could be quite an exciting horse, mixing hurdling and a flat campaign as the season goes on. He's by Cracksman. He's a 5-year-old. If he's anything like his old man, he's going to get better with time. And I just thought he ran really well, and behind the mare, who I think the Mullins camp were really sweet on. They thought she was well handicapped, and you know, given that he was so weak in the market, it was a cracking run. So looking forward to Nadawi now for the rest of the season, although there's not much left of the jumps racing. But just, you know, market weakness like that. The form book suggested he should have been nowhere near 25-1 shot. Festival form, ran well. I think he was second in the Galway hurdle. So that was really interesting. He ran a cracker for me. So he will do for me.
Ooh, that'll be interesting if they want to go back there.
Yeah, maybe they might go back to Galway again. I'm not sure, but he's probably gone up. He didn't win it last year. Now he's gone further up in the weights. But yeah, I thought, under the circumstances of the market, I thought he ran huge.
Yeah, definitely one for the tracker then, like I say, for wherever he goes next, just to keep an eye on that, and in the betting as well then for him. Now, I am going to go to basically who I'm going to describe as mini Cargie. So I'm pleased that we showed her. Is Lady Vega Allen, who, of course, finished 4th in the Triumph Hurdle. Now, that race was just mental, wasn't it? With the 100-to-1 winner on hurdling debut, and Willie Mullins chucking 11 horses into the race.
Which Nico de Bonville was delighted about.
I know, that was very funny, wasn't it? His quote.
I love Nico, man. He's got a lovely little kind of quip every now and again.
It was so passive-aggressively, just taking a little slight on him. But yeah, Lady Vega Allen, there she is. She's a gorgeous-looking thing. Now, this mare was one of the horses, of course, as I say every year, I'm so fortunate enough to be part of the Mullins team for the week. So I get to see these horses on a personal level and get to know their personality and get to know all their little quirks and their traits and what the team think of them as well. You can't miss her. She may be only a diminutive thing, but her personality is huge. She's actually...
Bit of a diva, is she?
Bit of a diva. Diva's a good way to put it, actually. It's a very nice way to put it. Ruth Dudfield, she does an amazing job. She rides and looks after Cargeese, and she rides and looks after Lady Vega Allen as well. Yeah, so she had both of these mares this week, and they were handfuls, to say the least. She does an unbelievable job on the pair of them, a wonderful rider. And she thinks the world of this mare, but she's the kind of mare where she'd savage you in the stable. She'd turn around. She won't be caught in the stable unless she wants to be caught. Riding her out, she has to have a lead on the gallops, and she's just a real handful. But Ruth knows her like the back of her hand, and she's got all of the best out of her so far. And it was interesting. I was talking to Ruth last night all about her, saying that, oh, I'm going to put her up for this section, anything I should say. And she said, well, first and foremost, she's come out fresh as a daisy, so much to her delight, I'd say, out of Cheltenham. She also said that Paul said they can't go fast enough for her because she's so tough. And the knee lift on her, you see her action. We talk about Michael Flatley, but on heavy ground, going any sort of a pace on her. And the fact that even though she looked beaten, and we know that the race was set up for those closers, how quick they went, or how early they got racing in the Triumph, and she was bang up with the pace. Yeah,
she was rallying late as well.
She was rallying so well. So I wonder if she wants that.
Which is maybe no surprise, because she's by Saint de Son, and her dam, I think, was a full sister to Quevega.
So hence the Vega Allen.
I actually ended up backing her on the Friday because she drifted out to 25 to 1. And I was like, that is too big a price, because she needs pace to run at. And I thought Paul gave her a great ride with that in mind. Sent her forward, really aggressive. And she's a really good slick jumper, even though she's quite small. Yeah,
that's exactly it. And if she's got a good pace to aim at, ideal, because it will help her settle that bit better. But at the same time, as they've said, you can't go fast enough on her because she's so tough, and she will just keep finding more.
Interesting that we just saw kind of on the picture there behind us. She doesn't have a cross noseband or anything there at Leopardstown. I can't remember if she had one at Cheltenham, but she strikes me the type of horse who probably needs a little bit of controlling. Given she's quite keen.
But you've got to keep her sweet at the same time. It's one of those tricky mares. She's one of those sort of tricky ones where you don't want to sort of over-restrict her, I'd say. This is just me sort of.
And this is probably where top-class trainers come into their own with little nuggets
top-class trainers and top-class staff as well, who just know these horses so well, which Ruth Dudfield really does. So I think she's about 14 to 1 for the Mares Hurdle next year. But whether or not the 4/5-year-old curse hits her or not, but I'm not in. That's going to be a bit of a concern. But when she's back in against mares in her own division there, then I think that there's still so many possibilities for her to be breaking that juvenile curse for the next season. So, Lady Vega Allen.
There have been a couple of 5-year-olds. I think, did Honeysuckle win as a 5-year-old?
We've had four, as we've just had confirmed by a producer beforehand. Yeah, for Apples Jade, Quevega, Lossy Mouth,
and the first ever winner, White Oak, for Donald McCain, was it?
Yes, it was. Again, I'm not taking any credit for this whatsoever. This is Ben, our producer, who's feeding me all of this information. But there's a couple of horses then for your tracker to look out for next time they're out or next season. But do let us know in the comment section below who caught your eye. Right, back to more immediate affairs. Our best bets for this weekend, Dex, your nap.
Yeah, for that, we've actually discussed the nap, the next best, and the long shot this week. I am going to go with the nap of Barrabool for the Harry Derham team up at Kelso. I like her. First time in a handicap. Alice Stevens taking £3 off. Good ground. Daughter Jack Hobbs jumps really well. Strong traveller. Exactly what you need around Kelso. Just hope she's not outstayed late, but I think she'll give you a massive run for your money. And then the next best is going to be another mare. So, you know, girl power this week. Shiog Yal. For the Jean Paul fans, she will do for me in the mares final at Newbury. Again, another mare I think as well, handicapped. Does an awful lot right. I hope she'll improve again going up in trip. And the long shot's going to be Old Cowboy in the first race on Saturday for the Gary and Josh Moore team, who are now operating at a much better strike rate, and the horses seem to be generally healthier and thriving. Really like him. He's got a real touch of class. I just hope the official going description is correct, because I think the better the ground, the better his chance. Although he did run well at Newbury early in the season in soft ground behind Juricon, who's franked the form since. So there you go, 3 losers this week.
Right, back to my best bets of this weekend
right.
then. So my nap is going to be Risking the Ground. Again, 3 horses that we've already talked about for my best bets as well. Risking the Ground though, 11-1 nap, goodness me, at Newbury for a handicap chase. As I say, Cheltenham has won the past 2 renewals of this race for Harry and Dan Skelton. So when you see that the Skeltons target a race, you have to take note then. Now, he was big prices for his last 2 races. Had no chance really in those. The Grade 2 Kingmaker, then a Class 3 handicap chase at Huntingdon last time out. So he's now £3 down in the weights, running off just £1 higher than his last success. And I hope that this has been the plan for him. Now, La Pinsonnière is going to be my next best bet at 9-1 in the Grade 2 Mares Novices Limited Handicap Hurdle. Hoping that Nico de Boinville has chosen correctly here on the Nicky Henderson seemingly first string, making a handicap debut, second at Southwell last time out. Hoping the gap between her and Jasmine Bliss will be brought closer together. Been dropped £7 in the handicap. First time cheek pieces, handicap debut. And I thought she had a big chance. And my long shot, goodness, I couldn't believe the 3 prices that I've gone at this weekend. It's the story of the weekend's racing, isn't it? Is Jackpot de Board in the novices handicap hurdle at Newbury for Paul Nicholls and for Harry Cobden as well. Lightly raced source. 5 races to his name, handicap debut, opening mark of 118. Know he was turned over at a short price last time out, but who's trying to give weight away all round. The Nicholls form is much better. And again, first time cheap pieces to go with his usual tongue tie. So we're ticking a lot of similar boxes for my 3 best bets.
And I meant to ask you, what was your highlight at Cheltenham? Oh,
personally or of the week?
You can go both.
Personally, well, obviously the riding out in the mornings is just, I would never, ever get bored of that. I had 4 lovely horses I got to ride out this week. And my highlight has to be Marine Nationale Jazzy Matty on the same day. How could it not be?
That was mental, wasn't it?
Horses just know.
Yeah.
Horses just know. How about you?
I thought Factifile was sensational.
He was the standout performance.
So good. Like, he was so good. And I know a lot of people won't thank me for saying this now, but up the Ryanair, you know, I'd rather see a horse do that à la Vautour, like Undassault, Allaho, all of those. I'd rather see a horse do that than finish 3rd in a Gold Cup any day of the week.
Yeah, like I say, if you're the owner, you're over the moon, aren't you, then, of that?
Absolutely.
And I'm also pleased to see that Dino Blue got her deserved Cheltenham Festival success as well. As you know, she's the apple of my eye. So, yeah, absolutely love to see that as well. Do let us know, again, in the comments section below what your Cheltenham Festival highlight was. But we'll be back at the same time next week for the start of the flat turf season at Doncaster. So Deck is going to be readying his Rafe Beckett pyjamas for then.